Okay, today I'm going to be showing you how to clean your M4 mid-cap magazines and dismantle them. This is a G&G mid-cap mag, and for reference, this is a Crytek magazine. They both have buttons on the bottom. They both come apart pretty much exactly the same. They run off the same system. So every AL magazine is going to be pretty much the same. High caps are all going to be different, but all the mid caps are going to run pretty similar. Crytek's tend to be the best from my experience. These ones perform the best overall. But let's get into breaking this one apart. You're going to want to push the button down on the bottom, just like this. Slide the plate off. Crytek will be the exact same. That button down now. Then you just want to push this out like that. It's going to have some screws right here. This big piece of plastic is what holds the spring in. It just slides right in there, holds the spring down. You need to get a screwdriver. Okay, you're probably going to want one of these. This is a magnetic disc. Stuff just magnetizes to it. It's not something you have to have. It's just nice to have those. That way you don't lose any pieces. You want to take all the screws out. Just like that. Now this little button here, and there's a spring behind it. That's going to try shooting out. So keep that in mind. It's got a lot of moving pieces in here. That's going to want to come all just shooting all over the place. Just use a screwdriver that's flat to break it open around the edges. Oh, yep, see, mine just shot out. So yeah, be careful, that pieces are going to shoot out. Here's that metal spring. And this is the plastic piece that holds it in. Right there, that's what it connects on. You just slide the spring over that and it sits down in there. Two more springs there. Pretty easy to take apart. Nothing too difficult. Now the next thing I like to do is get a little bit of water on the end of this and just rub it through. Move any door or anything like that out of there. Because a lot of dirt will build up inside of here, especially you play outdoors. Inside, it's not a big deal. Outside, you can get all kinds of sand and dust and all kinds of good in here. Just rub this around. Get all the dirt out of here. If they're really dirty, you can just also get a rag. We can dry this off afterwards. If they're really bad, just put a wet rag through them. Any dirt you want out of here. You don't want anything in here. Preferably, anyway. If there's a little bit inside, it should run still. But if your mags are jamming, most likely it's dirt. You got stuff in your magazine, and your BBs have just jammed it all up and down inside of here. Because if you get any dirt on the lip of your magazines, like if you drop them, and then you go and use your speed loader, you're just going to shove it deeper down inside of there, is what's going to happen. And clean the ends of these. Clean the end of that in water. Get all the dirt off from the outside especially. The best thing you can do is use something like a dump pouch. Because if you drop your magazines in the sand, they're probably going to get sand inside of them. So a dump pouch is one of the better things you can use. I don't use one. I don't use dump pouches. I don't really care for the looks of them, personally. So I typically don't use them. But they are typically better to just have one. Most people use them just so they can quickly reload, and it keeps them from dropping their magazines into the dirt. Get a dry one, run it through there. If you have a little bit of water on here, it's not a big deal. It's not an issue if there's a little bit left over. It'll dry. If you have a lot of jam issues in your AEGs and your mid caps, most likely you just have a bunch of dirt inside of these. That's usually what happens. Because I find my mags tend to jam up quite a bit sometimes, but after I clean them, they have no issues. Now the other thing you can do is, if you want to, run a little silicone oil on the tip of this and run it through. Some people do that. I don't. I just leave mine alone. I usually just clean all the dirt out of there inside, and then I just put the spring back in and it runs just fine. But if you want, you can do that. If you're using gas pistols or gas anything, you're going to want some of this on the fuel valves especially. You're going to want silicone on the fuel valves if you're running a gas blowback. For the mid caps though, I don't usually use it on mid caps. If they're dry, clean, they should work just fine. Now don't bend or stretch your spring at all. If your spring gets bent, it's not going to work. Don't stretch them. Just leave it alone. Because if you stretch them, what's going to happen is you're most likely going to bend it. Leave the last little bit sticking out. That way it holds in there. Kind of find the sweet spot that it likes, just like that. Close up the bottom. Then we want to snake the rest of the top in. I have a few extra pieces for mine. This is the first time I've done a G&G before. I actually don't use G&G mags, so this is the first. But looks like G&G's got this, I think it goes in this way. Your magazine probably doesn't have these extra bits like this one does. I think this one goes like this. I don't run G&Gs, so I'm not entirely sure if this one's a little different. That little nub piece, that's basically what this piece here is. It holds your BBs in. It's gonna have a spring with it. Hopefully that didn't shoot out on you like it did with me. Oh, this is gonna be fun with gloves on, isn't it? This is gonna be interesting. Who could have seen that coming? Piece fly back out. I gotta be the only crazy fool on here that's gonna do this with gloves on. Hey, it's a challenge. I can do it. Hey, if I can put this gloves on, that's pretty awesome. Oh wow, I got it. Look at that, I did it. I better double check and make sure that's on the right side because I don't run G&Gs. So I'm gonna go make sure. Okay, other G&G mag. Oh, look at that, that's right. Cool. If you want to see me build an entire AEG with gloves on, that video's on the channel too. And yes, I actually do manage to do it. I like my gloves, what can I say? They're nice, look at them, they're fancy. Press that down. And there you go. I wanted to find out if it works, right? Which it will. Ah, this can be fun. BBs everywhere. Look at that, it walks, it feeds. I still like Crytek's the best though. So that's how you do your magazines. They have a nice watery mag for you. There you go. Click the like button. Click the subscribe button, I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy my watery G&G mag that I don't use. Whoop-de-doo. For the things you know you